There's a secret in chess. Beating 2200 to 2300 rated chess players is not as difficult as you may think. In this video, I play against a 2265 rated player. I'm going to show you step by step and move by move my thought process during this game and how you yourself can one day get to this rating level just by simply changing your approach to the thought process of chess. Anyway, let's dive in. All right, so the game starts off e4, e5, and we have a very typical chess opening that most of you are familiar with. That's also why I chose this game. I think it's very instructional. So, right, d3. Now, I play d3. Why do I play d3, and why do I not take up my knight here? Taking out your knight here is actually a mistake when the two knights are already out, and that's because black can do this, and it looks like he's just sacrificing his knight, but then he follows up with this move. And what happens is if you want to keep a pawn and not lose a pawn, you have to get rid of your bishop here. And now black is better, is significantly, not significantly, but slightly better here. So because of that, after knight f6, I play d3. That stops that whole threat. And after bishop c5, now I can play knight c3. So the little details in chess are super important. Okay, now, again, this is a very symmetrical position, this opening. Everything looks pretty much the same, in other words. It's a mirror image. And now black finally goes and changes that whole symmetrical position to a certain degree. If he played bishop e6, then it would be pretty much identical to the position. But now he goes astray. His bishop went to a different location than my bishop did. And now there's a couple things here, and this is very, very instructive. This is very common, too. So it's very important you pay attention right here. So he is pinning my knight. Now, the most important thing when he's pinning my knight, there's two things. Am I guarding the square that his knight can use to attack this knight, to pile up on the pinned piece? Also, am I castled yet? Now, I'm guarding this square, and I'm also not castled yet. So I don't have to go kingside. Now, this is important because you usually don't typically want to double your pawns in front of your king. So you would not think a move like queen d2 is playable, but this is what I played. Now, it's not the best move in the position, but it's very playable. And the point is, I get out of the pin. I get myself out of the pin of the bishop. However, if he takes and relieves that pressure now, well, I just simply take, and my double pawns are not bad at all. Why? Because let's say he castles kingside, which would be a mistake here for him. I would just castle queenside. And not only that, I have an open lane of attack to his king. So I talk about this in a lot of my other videos. This is a very important concept to understand. So for that reason, the 2200 or 2300, we'll call him a 2300 for the rest of the video to make it easier because he's closer to 2300 than 2200, so we'll give him the benefit of the doubt. So the 2300 just plays queen d7 instead. He's obviously a very good player. So I castle queenside myself. I don't want to castle kingside, right? If I castle kingside and he doubles my pawns, now my king is weak. We don't want that. So I go queenside, and he should go queenside. Now, why should he go queenside? Well, if he goes kingside, now I would attack his bishop. He can't take, because if he does, he opens up a lane of attack, and he might do something like this, and then all of a sudden I have a strong attack to his king. So for that reason, I go queenside, he goes queenside, I play king b1 to get my king safer, and after this move, now h6 is an unnecessary move. He didn't have to play it, he's stopping me from coming here and doubling up his pawns, I guess, or threatening to do that, which is not really a threat. As I explained, doubling the pawns here is totally fine for him. His king's not over there, and he can also always relieve the double pawns by pushing and attacking this pawn in the future. So it's no big deal. All right, now I play a3. Why do I play a3? I want to explain every single move in detail. I play a3 because if he plays this, what he was going to do, now my bishop is not trapped. I don't have to trade my good bishop for this knight. We want to keep the bishop pair, and especially this bishop is very powerful. It's guarding a lot of squares. So for that reason, if he plays a5 now, he doesn't trap my bishop, and it would actually be a waste of a move. Okay, so g5, not really doing much. In fact, this move actually gives me something to grasp on, to bite on, so to speak. So here, I play h4. Now, h4 is the best move in the position. And now, how do I come up with a move like h4, you might be asking? How did you find that move? It doesn't seem like an obvious move to you, maybe. Well, when I explain it to you, it's going to seem a lot more obvious, hopefully. First of all, in this position, there's not much for me to do. I can't really progress. I can't improve my pieces. My knight can go here. He can just trade it off. My bishop's where it's supposed to be. This bishop is. This knight is where it's supposed to be and can't move right now because I'll lose a rook. You could say I can move this rook, right, and develop this rook. And that's the key to the answer to this position. Yes, the one piece I do not have developed yet is this rook. And a lot of times, players will just simply move the rook because that's what they were taught, develop a piece. I am developing a piece in this move. That's the point of h4. But you don't always have to move the rook to develop it. You could open up the file or threaten to open up the file. And that's what I'm doing by h4. Why move the rook when I can just open up the file the rook is already on? And that, in essence, is developing the rook. So I'm threatening to not just open up this file, which would, activate my rook. It would also activate his rook too, but I'm trying to get my pieces into the game. But I'm also threatening to win a pawn here. Now, the point is, if he doesn't want to lose a pawn, he'll take, and I just activated my rook, and his rook is not activated, right? I'm on open file. He's not, because his pawn's in front of his rook. So that is and the threat is obviously just winning a pawn. So just by playing h4, I already put my opponent in a spot where he has to think he's on his heels. He has to start trying to think more defensively. So my opponent plays d4. Here, that doesn't really change anything. So I just take. After he takes, I take here. Again, this is not the best move, but it's a decent move. So you don't have to always play the best moves either. We're not 3,300 rated computers. I'm not trying to tell you to play like that. I'm trying to explain to you that it's simple. Chess is a lot simpler than you think. There's certain positions where you do have to find the best move, but a lot of times, especially to the beginning or the beginning of the middle game, you're just playing very logical moves. Okay, so here I just win a pawn after that combination. My opponent plays knight h5. Now, why would my opponent play knight h5? Well, first of all, it's a mistake, so he shouldn't play knight h5. But you have to see why he's making moves and where he's going. This is a pivot square to come to f4. f4 is a good square to go to. He wants to clamp down on that. Now, the thing is what we know he's doing that, so we can stop it, or we can just simply say, let him go there. It's not a big deal. In this case, we can't stop it, because if we do, we're undefending our knight, we lose a piece, and not to mention, we're also losing more material as he's attacking both our rooks. So we can't do that. So in this position, I just said, hey, let's just go knight d5, ignore that, let him come here. This actually defends so it's not letting him come here, sorry. It defends f4. So if he does come here, I would not only defend that, but I would win a pawn. Okay, so he takes this pawn. So yes, I let him take this pawn, but what does that do? First of all, it opens up a file for my rook, another file. So I have this file, and now I have this file for this rook. So this is all about development. And development in active pieces cannot be understated how important they are in chess. And I'm giving up a pawn just to get that. So my pieces are going to be more active than his. And not only that, but I'm getting this move with tempo. I'm attacking his bishop. Again, so after my opponent plays bishop c5, my opponent had to actually play bishop g3 here, which is a very awkward and almost nearly impossible move to play as a human. You want to keep your bishop on that big diagonal. So he just snagged the pawn and came back. What's the big deal, right? Well, in this move, I have a tactic, a winning move already. Try to pause your videos right now and spot this tactic. Okay, so I actually was calculating this tactic, that I'm about to play, that I'm about to show you, and I didn't play it because I thought I was giving up too much material, and I didn't have that much time on my clock, as you can see, but it is the best move, and that move is knight takes e5. Now, you always have to look at forcing moves, so knight takes e5 is not as crazy as you think. After the pawn takes, the point is we have rook takes f7. Now, you might think this is insane, and I thought it was insane too when I was calculating it. That's why I didn't play it. And the whole point is now we got 2 pawns. Our rook is activated. We're hitting this f7. If the queen just moves, now black's losing at this point. So the queen has to essentially take, and then that puts the queen in a discovered attack. We can have a move like this, knight to b6 check. And after black takes, we simply take the queen. Now, I saw this in my head. I didn't play it because I figured I was actually giving up way too much material for this. But the thing I missed at the end of all this is I'm attacking the bishop. And he can't hold on to the bishop and the knight at the same time. In other words, if he defends the bishop, I'm just going to take the knight. And he has no counterattack here like rook to attack my queen because I'll take his rook. So actually what would happen here is something like king b8 is the best move, and I take, and now knight f4, and we would trade the rooks. And after this, this is a better position for white. It's very much winning, but not as winning as I thought it would be. However, that is the best combination. Because I thought I was giving up too much material, though, I still set up the tactic, but instead of clearing the knight like this, I played knight h4, which is not the best move. And again, you don't always have to play the best moves. I mean, if you can, obviously play them, but we're also not super computers and we can't calculate like computers. So we have to see the concepts and try to play logical, rational moves if possible. However, the whole idea here is the same thing. I'm going to take this pawn. I'm just not going to give up as much material in the process. I'm also enticing my opponent to play knight g3, which he's going to fork my rooks. He shouldn't do it. However, enticing as it is, my opponent played knight g3. And now, I hit him with the tactic rook f7, which at this point isn't even the best move. It's the second best move. We have another good move here, the best move, and that's why tunnel vision is another thing in chess that we have to try to all work on. And now the position changed a bit, so now the best move is just the simpler move, knight f6. Knight f6, if you look at it, is kind of like a no-brainer when you see it now, but when you're constantly looking at rook takes f7 and those sacrificial moves and trying to make them work, you can forget about the simpler moves when the position changes. So remember that. Always take each move in chess from a clean slate and clear your mind and try to kind of not calculate the position, but just reevaluate the position. So the whole point of this is if the queen moves, we just simply take the bishop. So this is an absolutely losing position for black. However, I played rook f7, which is considered a miss because it's not the best move, but it's still a good move in the sense that it still puts me in the lead. And I'm still +2 in this position, so I'm still winning. And the point is he took here. If he takes the rook right away, now this tactic is the same thing that I showed you before I would play, and we would get this. And after he takes the rook, I would take with check. And I liked this position better because I'm up more material than the previous one. So he didn't play queen takes rook. For that reason, he threw in this in-between move, which actually makes things worse for him. I take the queen. He takes back with the bishop. So he's defending his bishop in essence and thinking he's preserving material by doing this because he's still getting 2 rooks out of it. However, his knight is trapped, and that's going to be the whole point of this move combination. Now, first, I move my knight off the side of the board and attack the rook, so I do it with tempo. After he moves the rook, now I play a very important move. See if you can spot this move. I play queen h4. Now, the point of queen h4 is, yes, I'm attacking the knight, correct. However, I'm also guarding one of the knight's flight squares. Now, so that's a better move than something like queen h5. It's a big difference. So queen h4 guards this flight square. Now, you could be saying his bishop is already guarding the flight square. That's true, but that's the point. We're going to undermine the bishop, and then when we undermine the bishop, then the knight's going to have nowhere to go. And that's what happens in this game. He plays knight f2, and we undermine the bishop. Now, if the bishop moves back, we simply take with check, and after it takes back, we win a whole piece. So for that reason, my opponent came to d4. We attack on c3. He can't take because the knight's guarding c3. And now my opponent plays c6. So now if we simply take the bishop, this would be a mistake because he takes the knight. And if we take his knight thinking we're winning, now he takes the bishop. So it was a very clever way of trying to equalize the game and the position. So after c6, what we have to do is get our knight out of the way, basically, and keep the initiative. Now we can play a move like knight f6. That's also an idea here. We're keeping the initiative, and we're still putting our opponent in the same predicament. However, I played knight d7, which is the best. It's a check, and if he takes, he's just losing more material with check and putting himself in the same situation. Only down more material. So my opponent just moved the king. I took here, and he moved the knight back. Now, I'm going to show you the rest of this game because, first of all, you can still lose a game like this. There's still enough material on the board, but I'm just going to show you how to simplify a game because it's very important to simplify from this position in order to convert the win. So here I just traded, and I put my knight on f5. Now, I put my knight on f5 because now the knight that was guarded by the bishop is not guarded by the bishop anymore. And the knight has no, so now I'm attacking it, in other words, and the knight has nowhere to go, no flight squares. So for that reason, I'm forcing him to take my knight, and I'm simplifying the position once again. Now, because he's taking my knight, he does have this flight square now, but that's okay. I wasn't trying to win the knight. I was just trying to trade down material and get this, this passed pawn. So now this pawn is not only did I trade down material, but this pawn that was behind this pawn is now a completely passed pawn. So I push it. There you go. Push your passed pawn. He tries to attack my, well, he does attack my queen. Patience. I move my queen. I still have the passed pawn. And now I'm attacking his knight. I'm adding dilemmas to his position. He moves his knight. I push the pawn. He blockades. I trade first. And now you can play a plethora of moves like this. Is probably the simplest. I just played this, and my opponent resigned because if he takes, I queen. And if he doesn't take, then I take him. Anyway, hopefully you guys found that video instructive, and it was simple enough to follow. I don't think I did anything spectacular in this game. And in fact, I missed a couple things, if anything. If you like this video, also check out this one. I'll catch you guys next time. Go play some chess.